Hello Internet people, welcome to episode 6 of Paint to Life, the YouTube channel where we take miniatures, throw acrylic paint onto them, and breathe life into them with storytelling so you might learn something new on the subject matter, or perhaps find a new NPC to use in your own campaign. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you are a returning visitor, I hope I can hook you to stick it all the way through to the end of the video. It does help support the channel. Otherwise, I'm GM Atank, let's get painting. Alright, so out of the gate on this channel, Paint to Life, I decided I was going to paint all 10 of the Dungeons & Dragons dragons, since they're kind of iconic and people love dragons. But out of risk of monotony and boredom, I kind of broke it up a bit. Last week, we painted the Baylor, whose video can be found here if you missed it. And this week, we're back to the dragons, with the White Dragon to be precise. Now, white dragons are the weakest and least intelligent of all the dragon types. They're also the most animalistic in nature, and also the smallest in stature as well. Additionally, their intelligence is much less than their draconic cousins. They have no spellcasting capabilities whatsoever. And despite these limitations, they are exceptional hunters and trackers, and they have an uncanny memory, like photographic-like. They can look at any piece of treasure in their hoard and remember where it came from, down to the single coin. Therefore, they also always remember who wronged them, regardless of how long ago the transgression occurred. White dragons prefer northern climates, likely due to their colorization for camouflage, plus the wide space between their claws. They can easily walk along ice and snow without being encumbered or obstructed. They also have exceptional swimming capabilities, and they love swimming in frigid waters that the north typically have. Whites lair in caves, mountaintops, sometimes even floating icebergs, where they'll have an entrance above the water as well as an entrance underwater for multiple access in and out of their lair. They can even make their own structures by building up snow and freezing it solid with their frosty breath. Speaking of the breath of a white dragon is so cold that it can freeze solid an opponent that's not ready for it. Finally, due to their coloration, white dragons are boring as hell to paint. I mean it. It's like painting a flock of seagulls. This thing is more white than the Oscars. Now, if you're fighting against one of these in your game, you're going to want to remember that they're immune to cold, they're not susceptible to any kind of movement speed decrease when climbing or walking on ice and snow, and don't forget they're very animalistic, so they're easy to trick and trap. Use that kind of feral instinct to your advantage. And then once you've got them, get your shots in quick before they popsicleize you. So who is our white dragon? Well, our story this week takes place along the foothills of the Spine of the World, a mountain range far to the north. Gathered around a fire are 3 hobgoblin war leaders named Drolvan, Aldrun, and Shug. They're exceptional hunters, all highly respected by their clans. Now, the hobgoblins are having a heated discussion of what the most ferocious creature that they've ever killed are. Direwolves, owlbears, griffins have all met their end at the ends of their spears and swords. But the conversation then changes to the one that got away, and they're surprised to find that each of them shares a similar story of failure with regards to that elusive prey that they all have in common, the white dragon. Drolvan tells the others about how 7 years ago he found an abandoned white dragon lair, and he proceeded to look for eggs, as they are particularly rare and valuable if you can find them intact by wizards and chefs alike who will make dragon fin soup.
Under the snow, I found a hunk of ice with 12 frozen eggs. I chip out 5 of the bastards, put them in my cart. Well then, before you know it, there's a smash. Turn around, one of the eggs have toppled out, and out slides this tiny little creature no bigger than a dog. Radiant blue eyes like the sky. I'm like, "Come here, you little fella." And don't he just belch a lick of frost fire at my face. Put my hand up, lost 4 fingers in an ear. Fast little bastard, got away too.
Aldrun then proceeds to tell his story about how 3 years past, he and his warband came across a pair of sleeping frost giants who were keeping a white dragon bound as a pet.
Yeah, these 2 frosties were snoring so loud it could have heard them a mile away. We crept in, and just like that, they was dead. From a cage over there, though, we heard a slight growl. Looks like they'd been keeping a white dragon as a pet. A lot of good it did them. It's as your eyes begged me to let it go, but I knew. Could be worth a lot to the right wizard. So, we went to go get some equipment to transport it, and when we got back, The cage was completely covered in ice, and the iron door on the front shattered into a million frozen pieces. The dragon was gone.
Finally, Shug had recollected how just last year his unit had been trying to capture something that had been killing their scouts.
Wormlings, juveniles. That's nothing. Our dragon was mature. One that had been ambushing our scouts. The thing is, these creatures are stupid. We set a trap, netted it when it came by. The thing fought harder than anything I'd ever seen to this day. It thrashed so hard it ripped talons right out of its claws. We fought it for hours trying to tire it out, but it never gave up, or even wavered. Eventually, fatigue set in and one of my men dropped the net. It broke free, flew straight up in the air, 150 feet, like that. I can remember its cobalt eyes looking right at me before diving straight down, breaking through the ice that we were standing on into the river Mirar, disappearing into the darkness.
Suddenly there was the loud crunch of snow creaking from behind the hobgoblins. A huge creature the size of an elephant, but with the profile of a crocodile, emerged into the light, its radiant blue eyes shining like sapphires in the dim light from the campfire. Its voice rasped in the Draconic tongue. A white dragon never forgets, never forgives, and will track its quarry incessantly to right a perceived wrongdoing. Thus passes Drolvan, Aldrin, and Shug to Kelemvor's realm to await judgment at the tooth and claw of Glacius the Unerring. So that's it for tonight's episode of Paint to Life. I hope you enjoyed it. Can you believe that white dragon had been keeping tabs on those hobgoblins for all those years? I wonder how many other people have slighted it that it's going to pay a visit to. So, what did you think of Glacius the Unerring? Speaking of, here he is in all his glory with his hobgoblin friends for the shelf. I'm natively from Australia, in case you didn't know. But actually, I found a website online where you can actually put in English words and get a translation into Draconic, which I did for all of Glacius's words today. Then I recorded myself saying them, and it was quite fun. So if you want, in the link below, there will be in the description below a link to that website, so you can go check that out yourself, because if you're a DM or just a player who speaks Draconic, it's very cool to have that kind of at your fingertips to play with. If you like Paint to Life and you would like to help me grow, I would really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, click that little bell below, and share it with any of your nerd friends, share it with any of your friends. Share it with that person who asked you one time to help you bury a body and then you did, and this would be the payback. As always, I appreciate it. I've been answering all the emails and comments on my videos, so if you'd like to, feel free to leave one below. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like. If you have any requests for types of paint jobs, I would be more than happy to take them into consideration. I've got a few lined up, but there's always more to come. I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Now really is a great time to get in this hobby if you're able. Your local gaming store probably has curbside pickup or in-town delivery, and you can get yourself a Nolzur's model and a basic paint set and get started with some of the stuff that we've done. They also really do need our support at this time, so if you have the means, I'd strongly suggest doing that. P.S. When you go to do that, tell them that GM Atank sent you and that you want the special deal, and watch how confused of a look they give you. Anyways, that's all for now. This is GM Atank signing off. Please wash your hands, and we'll see you next week.